Good morning, students. We are doing chapter number 7, that is Indian economy. First topic, Indian economy before independence we have completed. Now Indian economy after independence. Topic is Indian economy after independence. Means what type of changes has come after independence in different sectors or in different activities. In this first point is, first of all, introduction. Immediately after independence, Indian economy faced some challenges for development. India today exhibits means shows. India today shows characteristics of developing countries with some areas of lower development and some showing much improvement. Means in some area, India is still very behind as compared to other developing, fast developing or developed countries. And in some areas, it developed a lot. Thus, in current times, we look at characteristics of India as a less developed and as a developing nation both. The first characteristics. First point in Indian economy after independence. First one is per capita income. In all this point, there is nothing to explain. Only data is given. On the basis of data, we can say that India is fast developing economy or slow developing economy. So first one is per capita income. According to Human Development Report, the per capita income of India in 2013 at purchasing power parity was $5,150. $5,150, which was lower than that of developed countries, but also lower than many developing countries also, like China. If we take the example of developed countries, no doubt that our per capita income is very less. But if you compare our per capita income with developing countries also, then also there are many countries, many developing countries whose per capita income is more than India. For example, China. This is the per capita income of India. China, $11,477. This is the per capita income. Per capita income is income of individual in a year. Income of one individual person in a year, that is called per capita income. And how per capita income is calculated? Total national income. This is the formula for calculating per capita income. Total national income upon total population. Is equal to per capita income. PCI, per capita. And Sri Lanka, per capita income of Sri Lanka is $9,250. Now, first of all, what is one word is used here? Purchasing power parity. Purchasing power parity. Now, what is this is also popularly known as triple PPP, purchasing power parity. Now, what is purchasing power parity? Suppose if we have to compare per capita income of different countries, and we all know that different countries has different currencies. Their currencies are called by different names. For example, India, if per capita income of India is per capita income of India is suppose 65,000 rupees. 65,000 rupees. We are expressing per capita of India in rupees because currency of India is rupees. So in per capita income of India is 65,000 rupees. At the same time, per capita income of Saudi Arabia, suppose 1,30,000 dirham. In the same way, per capita income of Germany is suppose 30,000 pounds. In the same way, other countries, their currencies are yen, sterling. These are different names of currencies. Ruble. If every country will show their per capita income in their own currency, then how we are able to compare the per capita income of different countries? It is not possible for us to compare per capita income or national income or any other thing. If every country will show their right now we are talking about per capita income. If every country will show their per capita income or national income in their own currency, it is not possible for us, for any country, to compare which country is developing fast, which country is developing slow. Means we are not in a position to compare anything with other country. That's why there is a process, there is a system in which what we are doing, all currencies of the world are converted into one currency, that is US dollar, in order to bring one standard, so that one measurement, so that we can compare each other either in the field of per capita income or national income or any other employment, production. So all currencies are converted into one currency, that is US dollar. For example, sterling is there, so one sterling is equal to how much US dollar, one yen is equal to how much US dollar. In this way, every currency of the country is converted into US dollar. Once all currencies are converted into US dollar, then we are able to compare easily either per capita income or national income. The system, the process of converting currencies of all country into US dollar is called purchasing power parity. Parity here means equal. Now all currencies comes on equal stage, equal level. Through that we are able to compare either national income, per capita income, purchasing power, production, demand, supply, everything we can compare with other country. Import, export, reason, all currencies have been converted into US dollar. So here India's per capita income is 5,150 US dollar. China's per capita income is 11,477 US dollar, and Sri Lanka, which is also developing countries, Sri Lanka's per capita income is also more than India's per capita income. We are not required to compare our per capita income with the developed countries. Even with developing countries, if we compare our per capita income, it is very less. Like China, like Sri Lanka, our per capita income is very less. On this basis, we can say India is a slow developing country. So on this basis, on the basis of per capita income, I have already told you that in some points or in some areas, India is developing very fast, and in some areas, India is developing very slow. So on the basis of per capita income, we can say that our per capita income is lower than even our neighboring countries. That's why on this basis we can say it is a slow developing country. Now second point is agriculture. Second point is agriculture. In first point, per capita income, only you have to learn that per capita income of India, China and Sri Lanka. India's per capita income is 5,150 US dollar, China's 11,477 and Sri Lanka 9,250. On this basis we can say that India is a slow developing country. Next one is agriculture, second point. Agriculture. India is an agrarian nation. Agrarian means major population is based on agriculture. They are carrying their livelihood only through agricultural sector. That's why India is an agrarian nation. The share of agricultural sector in employment has gradually declined. If we talk about employment, after independence, the share in employment has reduced. Means employment in agricultural sector is reduced. Why? Due to industrialization. After industrialization, what happens? Industries are set up in various states. Various types of industries have been started or encouraged by government. That's why many individuals have shifted themselves from agricultural sector to industrial sector or service sector. That's why the contribution in employment by the agricultural sector now reduced. India is an agrarian nation. The share of agricultural sector in employment has gradually slowly declined, but it is still relatively higher, depicting lower economic development. It is still no doubt that individuals are shifting from agricultural sector to industrial sector as well as to service sector, but still the percentage of individuals engaged in agricultural sector is high. That's why, and when burden of employment is high in agricultural sector, it means hidden unemployment is there. In agricultural sector, hidden unemployment is there. What is hidden unemployment? Hidden unemployment, or another meaning is disguised. disguised, disguised unemployment. In agricultural sector, hidden unemployment or disguised unemployment is seen commonly. What is hidden unemployment? That suppose there is a field, and in that field only 5 workers or 5 farmers are needed or 5 individuals are needed, but instead of 4 workers are needed. Instead of 4 workers in that particular field, 6 workers, and these 4 workers can produce suppose 1000 quintal of rice. 1000 quintal of rice means in a particular field, this is a particular field, in this field 4 workers are needed, and these 4 workers can produce maximum 1000 quintal of rice. Now if 6 members of that family are involved in that farming land, 6 members, 6 workers, still they are able to produce only 1000 quintal of rice, because this is the maximum production from that particular field. So even either 4 workers are engaged or 6 workers are engaged, production is same, 1000 quintal. It means additional 2 workers are producing nothing, 0. It means the marginal productivity of these 2 workers is 0. Marginal means additional production. If 2 workers are added more, it means production should be more. But here 4 workers are engaged, then also they are able to produce 1000 quintal. When 6 workers are added, means 2 additional workers are added, then also they are producing 1000 quintal of rice. It means additional 2 workers, their marginal productivity is 0. It means if these 2 workers are not employed, then also they are able to produce 1000 quintal of rice. It means these 2 workers are unemployed. They seems to be employed, but actually they are unemployed. This is called hidden unemployment. Once again, hidden unemployment, that workers are seems to be employed, but actually they are unemployed. That type of unemployment is called hidden unemployment or disguised unemployment. In case of hidden unemployment or disguised unemployment, the marginal productivity of worker is 0, means they are not producing anything, even they are engaged in work. That's why in agricultural sector, once again second line, developed nations have lesser percentage employment in agriculture. Developed nations are totally engaged in industrial sector. Majority of populations are engaged in industrial sector, whereas in India, majority of population is engaged in agricultural sector. At the time of independence, 72% of the population was dependent on agriculture. Now, due to industrialization, it declined to 58% in 2001 and then again decreased to 49% in 2013-14. So according to latest report, 49%, only 49% individuals or measures of total populations are engaged in agricultural sector, which was 72% at the time of independence. So this type of changes take place. Third one is industry. Third one is industry. The contribution of industrial sector in employment and national income has increased. So contribution of industrial sector both in national income and employment increased. Now data, the share of industrial sector in employment was 10.6% in 1950-51. In case of employment in the year 1950-51, the percentage of employment was 10.6%, which increased to 18.2% in the year 2001, and then again in 2011-12 it increased to 24.3%. Now, so far as national income is concerned, its share in national income was 16.6% in 1950-51. Contribution in national income 16.6%, which was 26% in 2013-14. 2013-14, it becomes 26%, exact 26%. So on this basis, we can say that India is developing fast, because after industrialization, the contribution of industrial sector both in national income and employment, the percentage increases. First of all, national income was 16.6%. National income of industrial sector was 16.6%. The contribution of industrial sector in national income is 16.6%, which increased to 26% in the year 2013-14. Similarly, in case of employment, the contribution of industrial sector in employment was 10.6%, which increased to 24.3%. On this basis, we can say the excessive burden on agricultural sector now reducing, or now shifting to industrial sector and service sector. Third one is service sector. The fourth point is service sector. Only data you have to learn. On the basis of data, you can say that India is a developing country or fast developing country. Now, orally I am telling you, service sector, the share of service sector in employment in 1951 was 17.3%, which in 1951 it was 17.3%, in 2001 it was 25.2%, and in 2011-12 it was 27%. Means the contribution of service sector in employment sector also continuously increasing. Now, so far as national income is concerned, in 1950-51 it was 30.3%, in 1980-81 it was 38%, and 2001 50.4%, and latest 2014-15 it was 52.7%. On this basis, we can say such increasing share of service sector shows that India is moving fast on the path of growth and development. In the same way, all points for population, any 6 points you have to select of your own choice, and in all these points you have to learn data also. For example, population growth, then poverty, everywhere data is given, and on the basis of data you have to interpret about the development of India. Next topic is characteristics of India as a developing country. Same point means Indian economy after independence. Same points you have to explain in characteristics of India as a developing country also. There's no need to learn separate points. Same points. Per capita income, agriculture, means whether question will be explain Indian economy after independence, or if question is explain the characteristics of India as a developing country. In both question we can write the same answer. Same points: per capita income, agriculture, industry, service sector, population growth, poverty, unemployment. It means characteristics of Indian economy as a developing economy separately after page number 81 you are not required to do. Only for MCQ 2 points is important. One is page number 83. Page number 83, electricity and road network, and third one is railway. Only for MCQ. Literacy, irrigation. Means heading is 7.4.5, improvement in basic primary utilities. No need to learn answer, only data. For MCQ it is important: irrigation, literacy, electricity, road network, railway. So MCQ question can be asked from this topic: improvement in basic primary utilities. For example, irrigation. Last line: about 45% of the total agricultural land has irrigation facilities in present time. So in present time, what is the percentage of total agricultural land for irrigation? So 45%. Then literacy. What was the literacy rate in the year 2011? 18.33, which increased to 73% in 2011. Here there is misprint. 18.33 in 2001, and then it increased to 2011. In the same way, electricity. The electricity generation, which was around 2,300 megawatt in the year 50-51, which increased to 2,43,000 megawatt in the year 2011-12. In the same way, for MCQ question, next, road network. In present time, India belongs to the list of countries with longest road network. It has approximately, now data is 48.6 lakh kilometer of concrete means pakka road, concrete roads today. And last question for MCQ, Indian railway network is the fourth largest today with a length of 65,000 kilometer. So its rank is fourth. Last topic only for MCQ you have to do, and in this way chapter is completed. Now any doubt you can ask.